Welcome, everyone. We're glad that you're joining us. I have with me Dr. Ivan Omana, and I am pleased to say that he is our new ACM director. He was elected at the General Conference session in St. Louis and in June, and we are grateful that he accepted the appointment. And I'm going to just ask him right now, what has that been like for you since the day that you were elected?
Well, thank you, Dina, for having me. And we're going to be doing this on a regular basis. We want to have some clear lines of communication with our chaplains out there on a regular basis. So we will do this regularly. How has life been since the appointment? It has been bittersweet, very busy. Most of you know, have heard about this at least, that I was appointed the new director of ACM in, if I remember correctly, was June 7th, the day that the nominating committee and the General Conference voted my appointment. And then June 12th, my wife died and lost her battle with cancer. And so after that, it has been busy. I have been taking care of some issues in my family, in my home. My daughter moved in with me from California, so I had to go to California and help her pack and do all that. And now we are in Silver Spring. Right now, right this moment, I'm in Orlando this week because we're going to be doing the memorial service for my wife this next Sabbath. And I'm taking care of some things that I needed to take care of here in Orlando. I've been slowly but surely jumping into the responsibilities, and it has been like drinking from a fire hydrant. I mean, everything coming at me at the same time. Ivan, we need to work on the budget for next year, and found out about that, and the deadline is like next week. We need to do the special projects. There are some things that need to be done. There are classes that need to be taught. There are divisions of the world that need some assistance. We are doing the advisories with the new directors that have been elected. And then the divisions are also asking us to provide some support for their advisory. So it has been like drinking from a hot fire hydrant. On top of that, I'm settling down in Silver Spring, trying to find a home, and also having to find a mode of transportation and some things like that. So it has been a busy season.
Yes, you haven't even had time to catch your breath.
Yeah, that is true.
So, I know that you have many years of chaplaincy experience, and that you bring to the role of director your CPE supervisory experience also, and that you have a heart for training and teaching chaplains. As we start to look towards the future of ACM, your appointment this time is for 3 years because there will be another GC session in 2025. We're going to get back on our regular every 5 years. What do you hope to see during the next 3 years?
Well, one thing that is happening, one thing that has been, I'm very aware that I'm standing in the shoulders of giants who have laid the foundation for everything that is happening. You know, when Marty Feldbush started thinking about the Adventist Chaplaincy Institute, when I was speaking with him a couple days last week, and he was sharing with me that in the beginning, they were thinking about the Adventist Institute of Chaplaincy, and then came Gary Council, and Gary Council started to see the possibility of more clinical pastoral education. That's when he entered into an agreement supporting the CPE program in the Philippines. And Mario extended that in agreements with Advent Health here in Orlando, and the establishment of CPE in Universidad Adventista del Plata in Argentina, and also working with Kettering and establishing CPE in Nigeria in Babcock University, and also working with Bashar Masih, who helped us to establish CPE centers in the Inter-American Division and in Kenya. So the foundation has been laid, and everybody now is aware of CPE. Everybody wants to have CPE. Everybody wants to develop their pastors, because the one thing about CPE is that it is not just to develop chaplains. It's not just to help in the development of chaplains. It is actually a program to help pastors be the best version of pastors they can be. And so we have been doing that. Dina, we completed a CPE unit with the entire administrative and leadership team at WAD. We call those executive CPE. Although in the beginning, I was kind of hesitant to call them executive CPE, but I guess we have to pay attention to the audience. And the audience kept telling us that they wanted to call it executive CPE because it is comprised of executive leaders. Just last week, I had a conversation with Elder Ayrton Coller, the executive secretary of the General Conference, where they are developing a leadership developing program for the divisions of the world, and they were made aware of the work that was done through CPE. And so we are in conversations about how to integrate some of the things that we have learned that are valuable in the process of developing as leaders, and using those concepts in the leadership development program at the General Conference. And one thing that I like about having that conversation with Elder Coller was that he said to me, I think we need to do something here with our leaders. So we're in the process of negotiating and finding a way. We may not be able to do a full-fledged CPE unit, but we will do a CPO, a clinical pastoral orientation, with them, so that we can give them the flavor of CPE and work with the leaders in the process of understanding some of the things that we chaplains know, and some of the things that we chaplains use. So that's the first area where I want us to focus our strengths. I dream of the day that I don't have an associate. Nor do I see that I will have an associate in the near future. But I dream of the day that we can probably have a full-time CPE educator or supervisor working from the General Conference, dedicated to the development of CPE programs and CPE educators in the other parts of the world. There is no longer is it feasible for us to provide the traveling and and do all the things that normally were done. We are in a post-COVID-19 world where things have been changed dramatically. And so we need to be able, listen, one of my dreams would be that we may have a CPE, at least one CPE center in every one of the 13 divisions of the world. We do have a center in the South American division already. We have a center in the Inter-American division. We have a center in the Philippines in the SSD. We have a center in WAD, and we are in the process of signing our memorandum of understanding with the Trans-European division, and we're in the process of signing the memorandum. No, I'm sorry, I stand corrected. We signed already the memorandum of understanding with the Trans-European division, and we are in the process of signing with the ECD, the East Central Africa Division. So right there, you have how many divisions? I think it's 6 divisions of the world who already have CPE centers. North American division, I don't even have to worry about that because there are many CPE centers here in the North American division. But there are, the other problem that we're finding here in North America is that although we have many centers here in North America, there are conferences that are following the guidelines that the North American division is sending out, saying that in order for any pastor to be ordained, they have to have at least 1 unit of CPE.
Oh.
The seminary is also starting to require at least 1 unit of CPE for graduation in the Masters of Divinity. So the problem is that we have a big group of people that need to have CPE, but we don't have enough CPE centers that can take them.
So there's growth needed there too.
There's also growth needed there.
Very good. Well, it's been a real privilege to watch how CPE has grown over the years, the interest in it. And I know that you see this as one of the ways that the church or the chaplains can be a part of the I Will Go outreach. And we have a wonderful opportunity for our chaplains to be a part of that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, I happen to believe that way before anyone in the General Conference decided to have a push and call it I Will Go, the I Will Go movement, we had hundreds of chaplains who already went. There's no doubt in my mind, and there's no doubt in the mind of many of our leaders in our church right now, that chaplains are especially positioned in a place where they can go to places where no pastor will ever be able to go.
That's right.
And so there is this awakening of understanding. One of the things that I want us to work with in the next 3 years is that I want once and for all to put to rest the idea that chaplaincy is the cemetery of the failed pastors. I want that to be eradicated forever. I do not want to receive any more phone calls from conference presidents or from leadership in positions in the world saying, hey, Ivan, I have such and such pastor who committed adultery. You think you can help them become chaplains? Or I have such and such pastor who had failure in the finances of the church. Do you think you can help them become chaplains? No, I don't want any of that. We still have some chaplains, especially here in North America, who do not have credentials, nor do they qualify for credentials because they lost their ordination because they committed adultery. We need to stop that. That cannot happen anymore. I know there is this forgiveness that every one of us deserves. I believe in that forgiveness. And if I were to lose my credentials, I know that I lose my credentials and those are lost forever.
Yes.
I can serve in other ways, but chaplaincy is not one of those ways that I can serve in.
That's right.
So that's another thing that I want us to focus on. I don't want anyone to be thinking that we somehow in chaplaincy we are somehow lesser pastors than the other. We have the same ethical and we have ethical mandate. We have the same. I mean, my credentials do not say that I am a chaplain. My credentials say that I am an ordained pastor of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an ordained pastor who happens to be a chaplain, which is a specialized ministry of the church.
Mm-hmm.
So those are two things I think we need to focus on. And the other thing I think we need to start working on is I think we need to start getting off the ground again the medical cadet corps.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow we need to start having those conversations and we need to start training our young people to serve. I know that there are certain limitations, especially here in the United States with the North American division. And because, the medical cadets were created when we had the military service was compulsory. So there was a draft at the time, and we wanted our Seventh-day Adventist young people that were drafted to the military, that we wanted them to honor the position of the church regarding we are non-bearing Christian, non-weapon bearing Christians. We do not bear arms. But we do have situations like that in Korea, for example, where our young people are forced into military service. And the biggest problem that we have right now in Korea is that the Seventh-day Adventist Church is not recognized as a church, where we are dubbed as a sect. Mm-hmm. Therefore, people that are identifying themselves as Seventh-day Adventists and are being pushed into military service cannot claim their beliefs in order to be excused from bearing arms. And so you have people like that having that problem in Korea, in Japan, in some countries in the Central America corridor or in the Inter-American division. There are situations like that when our young people are being forced into bearing arms, and we need to revamp the program. Mm-hmm. I am also I went to Puerto Rico recently and had a conversation with some of our leaders in Puerto Rico who are worried about some of the things that are happening with the medical cadets. I believe it is a very good service program, but they're not called to be the traffic police in our camp meetings or in our activities. They can do that. Certainly they can do that, but the master guide can do that. Pathfinders can do that too. Mm-hmm. There is a special service that they need to be doing, and that's also part of our responsibilities. So I think we need to have conversations like this where we give them the place of service that they need to have. It's not just about parking cars or leading security in our meetings. It's a way more than that. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and another part of the World Service Organization is supporting those members who are serving in the military. We know that what the official stand for the church is one of non-combatancy, but we also provide spiritual support for those who are following their conscience, whether it is conscientious objector pacifist or serving in an active role. So that is just another part of what our department provides.
Yeah. I actually had a situation where a pastor called me from a church here in the United States because there was a soldier who had done Bible studies and was ready to join the church. And some of the older generation of the church, some of the elders of the church were actually requiring him to resign from the military before he could be baptized into the church. And that is not the position of the church.
Not at all.
Our job is to provide support for that young man who is coming out of the world and coming into the church. Can you imagine all that he's given up in order to come to the Seventh-day Adventist Church and be a Seventh-day Adventist? And then on top of that, we're also asking him to give up his job, the way he is providing for his family. That's not fair.
No. So I am so thankful for those people that are out there serving as military, law enforcement, whatever role they are filling, that we are providing support to them.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
So in the next few months, what do you have on your calendar? Let's say between now and the end of the year.
Okay, I will be conducting the first unit of clinical pastoral education at Newbold Education Center in England. That'll be the next trip that I'm taking. I'm coming back from Newbold, and then I'm going to the Inter-American Division to start a new CPE unit in San Salvador. They have had CPE in most all the countries except Salvador. And so we're starting a new CPE unit in San Salvador. And then I'm coming back, staying, maybe getting clothes out of my luggage and putting new ones in, because 2 days later, I am going to Australia. And we're going to be doing a round with our military chaplains. We have about 7 or 8 military chaplains, and we will be visiting them in their bases where they are conducting ministry, and we'll be supporting that. We are bringing the highest ranking chaplain in the U.S. military as we do that round with us. He's coming to be with us in that trip. And after that, I'm coming back. Hopefully, I'm going to be moving into my new home in Washington, D.C., in the area. And then I'm going to be in the fall council at the general conference. And right after fall council, I will be going to Korea. And the NSD is going to have a training for all their chaplains, and we will have a meeting with some of the leaders of the Korean military, the South Korean military, explaining to them about our position as a church and about our identity, so that we could hopefully change the way they see us. That'll be the second week of November. And then I'm going to hang my passport and, kind of hold it back, because the beginning of 2023, the travel budget goes back to normal.
Yes.
And all the divisions of the world are throwing in their requests. We will have the last week of August. On the 30th of August, I'll be in San Salvador during that time. But then on the 30th of August, we will have our department advisory.
Yes, that's right.
I'm still learning the terms. So we will have a department advisory where all the ACM directors of the divisions of the world will meet with you, with me, with Elder Tom Lemon, the vice president in charge of our ministry. And they are sending in their requests because there are many new directors in their divisions. And so they're sending in their requests so that we do advisories for every division. So we will be doing the advisory for we'll be doing the advisory for the NSD in November. We will be doing in January something with something special in the Inter-American Division. There is a Doctor of Ministry student that is conducting a research on educational chaplains in Colombia. So we will be with the two unions in Colombia doing some training for the educational chaplains, and then I will conduct the fourth unit of the first cohort over there in Colombia that has been going through CPE. Oh, also, I forgot. I guess I didn't count that one, but I'm in negotiations with the IAD with the ministerial director of the Inter-American Division, because he and his team of ministerial directors of all the unions have taken some CPE, and they want to take their fourth unit of CPE with me. So
Wow.
I'm probably going to accommodate them in maybe late October when I finish the group from England. I'll be accommodating them. But that's going to be something that I do online, so I don't have to go anywhere. I just have to be online for that. And it's a little bit easier than what I'm doing right now. I'm finishing off a unit. I'm going to do final evaluations with a unit in Kenya, Africa.
Wow.
And because of the differences in time, they take up most of my day, because I have to be with them from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. every day, which is 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. their time.
Oh, okay.
And when I do the one in England, I'm also going to have something similar because of the time differences. But with the groups here in the Inter-American Division, we're pretty much in the same time zone with them, and so it's a lot easier. I could probably do something from 6 to 9 p.m. One day during the week or something like that, and it won't be as bad as it was before with the other groups. So that's what we're doing for the rest of this year. It sounds like I'm busy, right?
It does sound like you're busy, and we can just be thankful for Zoom and being able to do so much of this by digital means. It has really opened things up. Well, we're going to wrap things up for today, unless you have anything else that you would like to add.
I would like to end every time we have one of these times together. I would like to end with a thought.
Okay.
And today I just want to throw in some of the ideas that come from the first Psalm. And I want the chaplains out there to think about this, and maybe if they want to put some comments either in the Facebook page or in the YouTube page where we will be sharing this information, just put them in there. I'll try to answer to your questions or engage with some of the conversations. I want us to do this on a regular basis. I want us to think about these things. I was with my students, with my my CPE students. I was discussing this the other day, and let me bring it up from the New Living Translation. The first Psalm, Psalm 1. And I'm just gonna invite you to think about the first 3 verses. Do not go beyond that, okay? But think about these. I'm going to read it from the New Living Translation once again, and look at how it reads in the New Living Translation. Oh, the joy of those who do not follow the advice of the wicked, or stand around with sinners, or join in with mockers. Let me read that again. Think about this. Oh, the joy of those who do not follow the advice of the wicked, or stand around with sinners, or join with mockers. But they delight in the law of the Lord, meditating on it day and night. And pay attention to verse 3. They are like trees planted along the riverbank, bearing fruit each season. Their leaves never wither, and they prosper in all they do. I want you to see the connection between verse 1 and verse 3. I want you to see the contrast between verse 1 and verse 3. Okay? I want to see my chaplains out there looking at that, looking at this challenge that I'm giving you. I'm going to give you challenges like this every now and then because I want us to be like that. We as chaplains, we are the ones who see the word of God differently than everybody else. We're the ones who can take these things and sit down and have those uncomfortable conversations that people run away from. We're not afraid of those uncomfortable conversations. So think about that. And once again, I want you to see the contrast between the descriptors in verse 1 and the descriptors in verse 3. You will see something interesting. I know that. I saw something interesting when I was reading the other day.
Well,
Thank you, Dina, for the opportunity.
Yes, well, we can't wait to hear what people are seeing. So please make your comments in the Facebook group if that's where you're watching this, or at our YouTube channel, because this will be posted in both locations, and we'll be reading those comments and responding to them.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Ivan, I know that this week, as you come full circle with things in the celebration of life for Annabelle, that there are going to be a lot of memories that will be surfacing, and we'll be praying for you during this time. In case anybody is wondering, the service will be live streamed, and there will be a link in the Facebook group that you can click and go to and watch the service. And we'll just be praying for you and Yvonne, Ivan, during this week, and particularly this weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, as Ivan said earlier, we're going to be doing this on a regular basis, and each time it will be a different topic that we'll be talking about. So I look forward to these conversations.
Yes, thank you. Let us finish with a prayer, Dina. How about that?
Please, that's a good idea.
Eternal Father, we thank you for this opportunity to join together with Dina and with all of our chaplains who are going to see this. Father, I pray that you will be with each and every one of us. Things are not easy. It hasn't been easy for me. But I have found a key. I have found a way. And it is every time I open my eyes in the morning, the first thing out of my mouth is, help me, Jesus. Help me. It is only because of your help that I can make it this far. And it is only because of your help that we will make it to that wonderful, glorious morning when we will see you come in the clouds of heaven. But in the meantime, every day we will open our eyes and say, Help me, Jesus. Bless us as we go our ways. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.